Welcome back. So we had told you earlier, John Mark Griffin and C. Mark Warren, that we all realize that none of us is a perfect driver, and as good as it is to hear the warning signs and the encouragement to put those phones down, we know sadly things are going to happen. Judge Russell Bean has been part of traffic court for how many years now, Judge?
Well, it's 21. It'll be 22 by next May.
So you have really seen it all because you are the man sitting up there.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty horrible situations.
Mark Warren was saying that they really began to notice it in their office 10 or 11 years ago when the iPhones came out, that things really changed. Have you seen it?
I have. There's so much distraction now on the roadways. That coupled with speed and then people driving too close to cars in front of them, those are deadly situations.
Something I had pointed out a minute ago, I'm not sure you could hear me, is that the trooper who we drove around with to kind of point out people being distracted on their phones was not after trying to nail anybody. His heart was in wanting to educate and inform. That's kind of where you're coming at it as a judge.
I try to do that. We have a video we show young drivers, not only teenagers but young drivers, and have a video screen up on the front. And then we send a lot of them to defensive driving school if it's their first offense.
You said that if it's a teenager and you are not wanting to come down on the teenage drivers, you see a lot of adults in your courtroom too.
True.
But the teenagers, if they get a citation for distracted driving, they have to appear before you.
They are required to appear. And I always point out to them when they come in, the leading cause of death of teenagers is not guns or drugs, it's cars. More young people die in cars, and they kill more other people as they drive. And a lot of that's inexperience, and a lot of it is speed, but a lot of it is distractions. And we've seen so many of them that text and drive, and that's why I'm so glad that the two Marks here have this campaign against texting and driving.
You mentioned that video. I think a lot of us are old enough to remember middle school, early high school, where you had to learn about certain diseases that could be transmitted, and they would show you a video in school that you never wanted to repeat watching. It stuck with you, right?
Yeah.
The video that you play is kind of intended to have that same impact.
It is. It's not actors and actresses. It's real life situations. It's happened here in Chattanooga. It's got grieving parents. Unfortunately, it has a young lady in there that was paralyzed from a wreck. She was nice enough to at least go on the video. It's got a young boy in there that had brain damage. So there's a lot of things can happen to you other than death.
And I guess the reason that we talk about young people so much is that when you are young, you feel like life is never going to touch you, right?
That's why they put them in foxholes in the front, I think, is because they don't think anything can happen to them. But it certainly can. You know, we lose about 40,000 people a year in car wrecks, and nationally, and many teenagers. So they really need to be taught. And I'm a big advocate of driver's education in our schools. I wish we could get more of that in there.
Absolutely. Do you find that there is a trend? Do people tend to have, are they on their phones more, or do they get caught more when they're driving on a city road versus an interstate, or does it seem to matter?
It doesn't seem to matter. To me, it seems like more of the accidents are not on the interstate, although several of them have been, you know. Too.
And speed is a big concern for you.
Speed, listen, the faster a car goes, the less time somebody has to react. I see a lot of cases where someone will come in and they're charged with following or failure to yield right away, where they've turned in or they've pulled out. But when they get to court, I find out that they were at fault to some extent, but also the other car that was coming too fast. And if they had not been coming so fast, then the accident probably would not have happened.
Do you, asking your approach to a case, when you've got two different parties come before you, you have to, I'm sure, remind yourself every day to really listen and make up your own mind, don't you?
You do. You have to listen to both sides. And speaking of that, a lot of times some of the victims will come in that have been injured badly, and they will point out what the other driver did, and they, of course, they're very upset about it. Somebody going too fast or too close to them or not paying attention, and on either a cell phone with their hand. But I listen to both of them on
And if you are an adult watching and you've had a citation, you can still come to your court, hear what you have to say. What you want is to make that person not do it again.
Yeah.
They can go to driving school, defensive driving school.
They can. If it's a first offense, I would encourage them to come, because if you don't and you pay the ticket, you get points on your license and your insurance rates will go up. If you come in and I send you to defensive driving school, then after you go and complete that, look at the video, probably pay the court costs since you got us up there, then I'm going to dismiss the ticket and you won't have the points, you won't have that conviction on your record.
I know that it is still a problem, but in these 10 years, do you feel like things have improved a little bit? Are we learning, Judge Bean?
I think the distraction part people have learned. The speed, I tell you, I'm very concerned right now. When the pandemic came and there was not as many cars on the road, people had a tendency to go faster because there wasn't as many cars. Now that people are kind of back in service, they're still going faster. They really need to slow down.
And with schools coming back, please be mindful.
Yeah, they definitely need to.
Judge Russell Bean, you are a Chattanooga treasure. You know that, don't you?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't been called that before, but I'll take it.
Then it's good for 2 days. It's Never Text and Drive Day, and Judge Russell Bean is a Chattanooga Treasure Day.
And thank Mark and Mark. They
I
do a
will.
wonderful job.
Thank you for your time, and we're going to
thank
go
you.
to commercial with letting them spin the wheel, the Never Text and Drive wheel. The crowd is still there. People are feeling lucky as they spin, see what kinds of prizes they can win. We've got entertainment down here at Miller Park. You are welcome to come on down and join the fun.
Impressions made of stone and clay, but in parts of gold.